They've been thinking about these issues very deeply for more than 2 months now, getting as much advice, medical advice and scientific advice as they can, and also trying to follow what's going on with the politicians, where different states are looking at things and different communities are looking at doing things in different ways. But what I can tell you, Scott, is there is a real strong interest, and it's going to happen, that sports is going to come back. Whether you have fans in the stands or whether you don't, it is coming back, and it's likely to come back rather soon, this summer. And when it comes to things like the NFL in September, you could count on it. The NFL is doing everything the right way. They're opening their facilities with tremendous amounts of protections, first for the staff, then for the players. And they're going to do the same thing when it comes to the stadium.
Those are interesting points you make. I'm just wondering how the league is going to feel about decisions like Governor Abbott's tonight. You are introducing a risk factor that you otherwise wouldn't have if stadiums were void of fans. Would the leagues just simply, do you think, prefer one uniform policy across the entire league for every city?
You know, it's a great question, Scott, because what you prefer is one uniform policy across the country by the political leadership so that the leagues themselves don't have to make that choice. But yes, there is discussion right now that it may be the best approach would be to have one uniform policy, which is applied by the leagues for at least a certain period of time. And that could be no fans for a certain period of time. That is absolutely one of the options being looked at.
It's tricky politically, obviously. There was an NFL owners meeting today as well. I'm sure all of these issues are going to be discussed. You also have the issue of, you know, the NFL, for example, doesn't want to be left behind as other sports are moving towards the goal line, if you will, whether it's the NBA or the NHL, which seem to be, Mark, taking significant steps towards getting back on the playing field.
Yes, absolutely. The NHL made some announcements. I think middle of next week, we're going to hear the NBA make announcements. Baseball is stuck in this negotiating with the Players Association, a bad look for both baseball owners and the Players Association. Football has the great advantage of being a few months later for when the season will start. And every indication that I'm hearing right now is that the games will take place as scheduled, full 16-game season starting in early September.
You mentioned, and lastly, we'll leave it after this question, the Major League Baseball, right? Here we are nightly. Yeah. In fact, last night we spoke with Gary Bettman, NHL commissioner. Here we are tonight talking about the NFL progressing towards getting back on the field. He's talking about dropping the puck. Mark Lazary was on my program at noon today talking about jumping the ball again. And here we are talking about Major League Baseball bickering and spinning its wheels. What's the long-term fallout from that?
Terribly dysfunctional relationship between the owners and the players. This goes back generations. This is nothing new. And it's part of the reason why baseball's fan base keeps getting smaller and older, and the other sports have been really picking up the pace in terms of the fans and the demographics. They've really got to find a way to work together, players and owners, in order for the future to be better for baseball, because we may end up in a situation this offseason where no players are signed to big money contracts because the owners are going to have no idea how much revenue they're going to be able to generate from their stadium operations. It's a terrible situation short term. Looks really bad to the fans, and long term, unless they find a way to get their act together, they're both going to suffer.